My name is Michael Neary. I am president of the Arizona Solar Energy Industries Association, and I want to thank you for all coming out tonight. The Arizona Solar Energy Industries Association, and the acronym is ARISEA. One of the things I learned when I got in the energy industry is there's a lot of acronyms to learn. And ARISEA is the Arizona chapter of the Solar Energy Industries Association based in Washington, D.C. We work to expand the markets, strengthen research and development, remove market barriers, and improve education and outreach for solar energy in Arizona. Through SEA in Washington, we work at a national level, and we have input to policy in the federal government. In fact, one of the things that really we're proud of is the fact that the whole idea for the investment tax credit a while back came out of Arizona. It came when Matt Salmon was first elected to Congress, and he voted against funding for an energy bill. So we were able to invite Matt out to one of our members' offices and show him that the industry is alive and growing in Arizona, and that with the proper incentive structure, we could really begin to take advantage of the economic development and air quality benefits that solar has to provide. Members of ARISEA consist of companies who are involved in the sales, manufacturing, installation of solar electric and solar thermal systems. We are also open to other companies that are all involved in supply and any other related companies to the solar industry. Members also include architects and engineers and various other companies. Our members have done a variety of things, from utility scale photovoltaics to utility scale thermal systems to commercial photovoltaics. There's a couple examples of systems to commercial solar thermal. Members are also involved in residential photovoltaics, residential solar thermal, and also combinations of the systems. I get a lot of questions from people asking, what does it take to put solar panels on my roof? Well, there's different technologies that you can put on your roof. There's solar thermal and there's photovoltaics, and both technologies combine to make your home truly a solar home. Also, one thing we need to mention tonight is ASU's commitment to sustainability. If you've parked in the Apache parking structure, you may have seen something relatively new on the roof, and that's a photovoltaic system. Parking structure number 1 has an 864 kW system. Parking structure 5, a 731 kW system. And Court Hall has a 108 kW system. And I believe that's just the beginning, so we'll see where they go from there. And to locate businesses that are involved in the solar industry and our members of ARISEA, you can go to our website, www.arizonasolarindustrY.org, and we have some brochures and things with that website on it that are available tonight. Quite a few years ago, actually in the early 90s, we took a look at where the industry was and where we needed to go in Arizona. And this was long before other roadmaps for solar evolved, and ARISEA developed a plan for solar energy in Arizona. And the plan included creating an incentive structure, eliminating roadblocks, and in general promoting a greater use of solar energy in our state through education, both consumer education and education of the public policymakers. Some of the things that we worked on, along with many others, and one of the things that has been interesting has been the group of solar advocates that have developed over the years to support this legislation. And it's often been interesting because at the legislature we've often had the support of the utilities and others to pass some of this legislation, but the Arizona has a sales tax exemption that was passed in the early 90s. The residential solar tax credit was the first real legislation that ARISEA was involved in writing and getting passed. The late Dr. Andy Nichols was responsible for spearheading that. In fact, he created this sort of the modern movement for solar energy legislation here in Arizona. He gathered a bunch of people in Tucson to talk about where we needed to go, and out of that came the residential tax credit. one of the things that's interesting about that tax credit, it was the first piece of legislation that we ever passed, and I often say if we had really known what we were doing, we'd have never gotten it done at that time. The bill was actually passed through the House of Representatives and being held in the Senate, and Dr. Nichols and Ed Phillips, the local weatherman who was a senator at the time, was able to get this bill attached to the tax credit bill that granted tax credits to Intel to build their plant in Chandler. And it passed in the middle of the night and was signed by the governor, and we got our first tax credit. After that, other barriers were identified. Property tax exemptions. There were companies who wanted to install photovoltaic systems, but they realized that their property tax would increase, and it made it unprofitable to do that and not cost effective. So we were able to get a property tax exemption, a commercial tax credit, and one of the things that really we had to struggle with for many, many years was solar rights for homeowners who lived in planned communities. In regulatory affairs, we worked initially on the solar portfolio standard, which was a part of the deregulation process that was taking place in Arizona. Next came the environmental portfolio standard, which was a modest requirement. We get up to 1.1% of our power from solar. And more recently, the Renewable Energy Standard and Tariff was adopted by the Corporation Commission, which requires up to 15% by 2025. Solar rights for homeowners is a big issue here in this state because we have a large number of planned communities, and we developed a plan to sort of attack this barrier. One of them was legislation, is to strengthen the existing law. Arizona has had a Solar Rights Act, if you will, on the books since 1979, went in effect in 1980. Next was we tried numerous times to get this law strengthened without success. Next came in education. We've done outreach to homeowners associations in order to convince them that solar is a good thing and it doesn't have to be an eyesore. And finally, on our plan was litigation. We quickly discovered you don't want to sue a homeowners association because if you do, their insurance company pays for the attorney and you run into some deep pockets there. So what we needed to do was find a homeowner who would allow themselves to be sued by their HOA. And we thought, good luck with that. Lo and behold, 2 homeowners from the Garden Lakes Community Association came forward and allowed themselves to be sued. They won in Maricopa County Superior Court. About 30 homeowners banded together to take that to the Court of Appeals. The verdict was upheld, and then the state Supreme Court also denied the case, so we got some precedent there. We were finally able to strengthen the law in a couple of sessions ago in the legislature. It's the combined incentive structure of the residential and commercial tax credits, the ITC, and the utility programs under the Renewable Energy Standard and Tariff that really make up our incentive structure. And the combined has driven the market of solar today. Why we do this is for economic development benefits. Solar creates jobs. Solar also keeps our money in our state. Over $9 billion goes out of our state in energy dollars, about evenly divided between transportation and our homes and businesses. The more of that money we can keep in our state, the better our economy is. And it also has increased property values. Air quality benefits. Solar is pollution free. We have an air quality problem here in our state, and even though most of that, or a great deal of that, is caused by transportation, our homes and businesses also create pollution with the energy that they used. In fact, one number I was surprised to discover was that the average swimming pool heater, 10,000 pounds of emissions annually. So I thank you for listening, and we'll get on with our speakers.